is about trying to explain and describe the essence of who you are and what you can offer in a soundbite, with a picture, with a slogan. It's like taking the essence of professionally who you are and what you can do, and distilling it into haiku. You know, a complicated idea into a simple, easily memorable statement. And so this person, her name is Meredith Stoner. I love that name. Stoner. All right. So you know how sometimes when you invite somebody to join you on LinkedIn, and then as soon as you make that invitation, there's a huge page, an endless page of people, and it says, here are some people you might want to connect with. Mm-hmm. And you know, some people have headshots, some people don't. They're all pretty much the same. And every once in a while, you know, you're looking through all these people, and there'll be one, whoa, that's different. How many of you click on something like that and just you want to know them a little bit more? You know, it's just something that catches your eye. I do that all the time. I've connected with people on LinkedIn by starting out saying, I love your profile. Great photo. I want to connect with you. There was something that was different. It was unique. It was creative. It was something that drew me in. And so here there are all these headshots, and this is hers. This is what she has on her as her LinkedIn photo. So the fact that it's she's in front of a screen, she's looking to the side, anyway, there were lots of things about it. Made me click. She talked about in her little summary, and her summary is short. I could probably have shown you the whole summary. And by the way, the reason I'm not pulling it up live on LinkedIn is that we don't have a signal here for the internet in the movie theater. They just don't want you doing that here, I guess. So, but she talked about the creative process, and she works to utilize the creative process working with disadvantaged groups. And I don't know exactly the details of that because I didn't read further into it. But then she ends by saying the creative mass, and that's her company that she created. So that's the name of the company. And she says the creative mass is my attempt to fuse my greatest joys, giving and creating. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I've reached out to her twice now. She has not yet accepted. And anyway, I love it. Okay, but that was one where the picture grabbed my attention, and then that thing, my greatest joys, giving and creating. And how can I combine those two things in a career, giving and creating? It's enough. It tells you what you need to know. And it makes you want to read a little bit more. So the next slide, please, Roxanne. So this one, our speaker on November 4th, if that's the first Friday in November 6th, maybe? I can't remember what it is. But our speaker is going to be Wendy Nolan. And Wendy Nolan, the way she starts her summary is that she says, I got tired of beating my head against the glass ceiling at the company where I worked and decided to make these changes. And so she spent a year investing in herself, gaining the skills that she would need. She is now an executive coach. And she was the one who a couple weeks ago came out, I guess last week, was looking for volunteers to answer 10 questions or whatever it was on the phone and give her some input as to what are the skills that would, so she normally only works with executives, and in fact when I took one of my job club people to meet her, and she essentially, she didn't say it in these words, but the meaning was, you can't afford me. So she provides very, very high level executive coaching as to how people can leverage their skills and qualifications and get highly paid jobs. So I think she's now trying to expand her services maybe to a broader group, and is trying to see if she can do that. But the first thing that you notice is that first word, possibilitarian. And so it was so funny. I saw her, she also has a kind of a nice picture. It's a headshot, so I didn't put it up here because it's a little bit too normal. But she's got a nice headshot, and then she's got possibilitarian. And so I clicked on it and I said, I love your headline. And here's what I do, and I think we ought to connect. I'd love to connect with you. And she said, this is so ironic. I'm a speaker at your employment expo this week, and somebody, Shannon or somebody, I can't remember, who has been trying to connect us for a long time. And so we ended up having lunch that day, and she's going to be a speaker in November. But just that, liberating professionals from the status quo. And so in a very few number of words, it conveys a clear idea of what she does. Or at least makes you want to see more. Okay, the Unix guy, I have to tell you about it. So don't click next, I have to tell you this story. This is a Gary O'Neill story. Gary O'Neill and I were having lunch, and we were talking about resumes and profiles and things like that. And he was talking to me about how he uses LinkedIn. And he said when he's looking for talent, he goes into LinkedIn, puts in the keywords, and the way that LinkedIn is, he can pull up people and see their headline and their summary in a screenshot and make an immediate decision as to whether he wants to know more, whether he's interested in that person or not. So he just goes through really, really quickly. In just a matter of 3 to 5 seconds, he can sometimes know if he's interested. If he finds somebody that's intriguing, he'll bookmark that person until he gets 30 or so, and then he moves on. So you have to come up in the first stack or two of people. So anyway, he was telling me about a time when he was trying to fill a job that had very specific requirements. They wanted somebody who was an expert on Unix and somebody who had experience on some kind of old, obsolete, arcane hardware. And he figured it was going to be difficult to find somebody with that combination. So he was doing a nationwide search. And he said, you're used to seeing these LinkedIn profiles where they sound like a resume. They use that stilted resume language, results-driven professional, seeking challenging opportunity with progressive company, and it just goes on and on. He was sort of used to that. Today, I think you find profiles that are a little bit more creative, but back then it was really just kind of like your resume. And so he was going through those really fast, and all of a sudden he found one, and at the very top it said, "I eat Unix for breakfast." You can click to the next one. It said, "I eat Unix for breakfast, and I work like a dog on every project I undertake." And he said it was so refreshing to see some, human language, and not that stilted, structured stuff. He said he could not get to a phone fast enough to call that guy up. And he's the guy that ended up getting the job. Wore a wool suit to his interview in Phoenix in the sun. Okay. But he was coming from Wisconsin, so what do you know? All right, next. All right, this one intrigued me just because of the picture. It's an unusual headshot. It's a headshot, but it was an unusual headshot, and it's a little bit distorted from because it's so big. But just the fact that in the real picture you could see a little bit more of his features in that lip part. But it was different. It was neat. I liked it, and it made me want to look him up. He's the CEO of a company in New York. This one as well, a very different kind of headshot, but she's in some kind of a marketing, advertising. I thought maybe if I looked up creative people. Oh, and I'll tell you, so my irritation about LinkedIn, I go into LinkedIn all the time, of course, and I teach it, and I'm in there all the time, and so now they really want me to buy to upgrade, so they cut me off. I can't look at profiles anymore. I can look at like 3, and they say, "You've overprofiled," so we're cutting you off, and it gets blurry. I can't pull the people up. It's all blurry. And so they say, "But you could have a free month." So I thought, okay, last night I thought I'll get a free month so I can pull up my people. And my free month wouldn't have started until today. I needed it last night, so I still didn't do it. But my daughter's was here visiting, and she has a really interesting job that I may tell you about if I can fit it in. But she's from New York City. So I asked her if she would go into LinkedIn and I would feed off her network, and so I ended up with a lot of creative people from New York. So anyway, a different kind of headshot, but one that is, because it's different, it grabs your attention and you say, I want to know more. Okay, next. There was another headshot. This is a UX designer, and so I can't remember what the details were on the phone, but just the fact that it's that. This is my work. This is what I do. The interface between your thumb and this screen, and this is what I do. So I thought that was kind of neat. All right, Chad Zepernick. Chad Zepernick, I believe he got this LinkedIn profile through another job club, the hired Texas job club in Round Rock. When you go to those meetings, they have a LinkedIn expert who helps you craft a profile, helps you craft a presentation statement. And somebody pulled up his and used his as an example of one that they really, really liked. So he has one statement, and that's what they like you to have, this one haiku statement. I can take imagination and make it happen. And then his first paragraph in his summary talks about how he's always been this kind of person. When I was a kid, I invented new games for the neighborhood kids to play. This drive led me to create technology innovation funnels on a global scale. And then the subsequent paragraphs give a little bit more about the details of how he took that skill set and that interest and he applied it at AMD and some other places. So he's the other guy that has gone to work at GM. So that's sort of what we're going to be looking for today. Working to help each other create that initial statement, that slogan about this is what I do. This is the essence of what I can contribute. And so Gary Hoover, how many of you know who Gary Hoover is? Oh, just a few. Who would like to explain? Yes, sir.
He's kind of a serial entrepreneur. Bookstop was one of his companies. I've forgotten one, and then Hoover's, which is now part of Dun & Bradstreet. Yeah, Travel Fest. That was the least successful one, I think. But Hoover's was sold to Dun & Bradstreet about a decade ago. But he was the founder of those.
That's true, and he is creating additional entrepreneurial activities enterprises again. He was the very first year that the Macomb School of Business had an entrepreneur in residence. He was it, and he was a speaker at Launchpad. We used to have an evening speaker series, and he was a speaker in our evening speaker series, and was so interesting. Did any of you part of Launchpad back then? Oh, John Rocket used to be on our board of directors, so two people attended that. He was so fascinating. He had, I think he was the one that had just come back from Mexico, and he had these little notebooks in his pocket, and he said, oh, Mexico was just, there was so much input, sensory and every other way. It was a different culture. There were so many new things, and he said, I just came up with lots of ideas. I filled 3 of these little notebooks with ideas. And he said, and then during his presentation, there was a time when he pulled one out and wrote something down and stuck it back in his pocket. He was always thinking, always creating. He was fascinating. And so I thought, well, he's creative. Let's see what he put on his LinkedIn profile. So he said, ignite. This is what he does. Ignite and inspire entrepreneurial thinking. See the world and understand it. See how things change over time and what the future may hold. So, I don't know, maybe all of it's a little bit of food for thought. Do the next one. Joshua Baer, who is he?
Capital Factory.
Capital Factory. Joshua Baer was the brains and the CEO behind Capital Factory, which is sort of an incubator resource for startup and expanding companies. The Department of Defense has selected Austin as one of the sites for their new research and development center, and they're working at Capital Factory to make that happen. You can go into Built-in Austin and or Capital Factory, either one. Look on their events page, and once a month, I think it is, they say, ask me anything. That's the name of his program. Ask me anything, and you can just interrogate Joshua Baer and ask him anything you want about business and technology and whatever, and he'll try to answer it. But this is what his headline, the part right under his name in LinkedIn, this is what it says. He created a new word as well, Austinpreneur. I kind of like that. I help people quit their jobs and become entrepreneurs. So very short and concise. Do the next one, please. Okay. I have to sort of apologize and explain. That's my headshot on LinkedIn. I used to have a normal one. It was really small, and everybody said you should have another one. And so we have a launchpad person who is a professional photographer, and so I wanted to give him some business. And I said, I want you to take 2 pictures, a normal one, which is on our website, on our board of directors. I thought I had to be normal for that. But I thought, I want a picture that shows that I'm a little bit quirky and a little bit fun, and we'll try it as an experiment, and if people just use it as an example of stupidity, then we'll take it off. We had a speaker, Abby Kohut, who gave a lot of headshots talking about really bad headshots. I was so hoping that she was not having that one up there. And then the reason that one is up there, so my head's inside a Hoberman sphere, those collapsible sphere things, so it's like a little toy. And then if you go into my summary, we had a launchpad person who was trying to start a business. She's been a filmmaker before, and so she was going to do 30-second videos for LinkedIn profiles. So if you have a video on your LinkedIn profile, boom, you fly to the top of the SEO chart because you have a video. And so I said, okay, I'll buy a video from you, and if it turns out okay, then I'll buy 2 more, and we'll give them away for door prizes, and we'll help your business grow. And so we did a video, and my 30-second video explains this, and it's called "What Does She Have on Her Head?" And so if you look at my profile, that's in my summary, but I installed it, but I can't make it go.
Oh.
So it's got the title, "What Does She Have on Her Head?" It's got the picture, "What do I have on my head?" And then I was able to say this is a snippet of one of the presentations that I make at Launchpad Job Book. I mean at my job at WorkSource Solutions. But if you can't see the video, this makes no sense. It just looks stupid. So I don't know. Eventually, I'll take it down. But it has brought a lot of people to my my profile because they see it and they think, "What does she have on her head?" That makes sense. And so anyway, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but it does attract attention. All right, and
That's the
anything
next
else?
one.
That's the end. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, we've got 15 minutes. What I'd like you to do is get into small groups, like maybe 3 people. The number doesn't matter. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4 maybe. And I don't know if we have time really for 4, but maybe. And what I'd like you to do is to share with each other, like what do you feel is your essence? What do you do best? What's your best accomplishment maybe? And see if collaboratively you can come up with a statement. And whether you use it on LinkedIn, whether you never use it at all, whether you tattoo it on, somewhere, I think it's helpful to think about how do you describe your ultimate skill, the essence of who you are, concisely. I think it's a good exercise. So everybody kind of understand, see if you can synergistically put something together, and then we'll get together at the very end and see what you've come up with.
Something like an elevator speech, but not just about your job, more about your...
He said, so John said like an elevator speech, but not just about your job. But short, like 1 line of elevator pitch, if you can. I take childhood dreams and convert them to the semiconductor domain. Or what does that mean? I want to know. I don't know. if you want to use that, you can.
Copyright.
Okay. Yes.
So LinkedIn has like 120 characters, something close to what Twitter's limit is, that you can use in that headline
Right.
space.
In your headline. So there are two approaches to the headline. The headline is the most the most important part, really, in some ways, of your LinkedIn profile, because the words that are in your headline are weighted. And there are two approaches to that. Some people want to put job titles, because that's where when a recruiter says, I want to find a project manager, I want to find a marketing communications expert, if you've got that in your headline, it's weighted, and you're more likely to come up on the top. And so one of the, in your handbook under LinkedIn, we say, here's a good profile to look at, and it's Frank Scamato. Frank Scamato has 5 job titles in his headline. 5 job titles and his phone number, and that's all he's got. I wanted to present myself as a trainer. So mine says trainer, motivator, but instead of a whole bunch of things like facilitator, instructor, teacher, instead of that, I have a slogan that was supposed to be the last one. My slogan is fanatically focused on helping people survive transition and land great new jobs, or something like that. That's not exactly it, but fanatically focused on helping people make it through transition, career transition, and find great new jobs. So that was like the haiku of what I do. So that's really what we want, not exactly your elevator speech about here's what I do, but all of it. All right. You may have to just meet with somebody in a bar and work on this. Okay, so get in your groups and we'll let you know. So move around if you want to come in a corner, if you want to whatever, and then I'll let you know when you're about to have to report back. Okay, get ready, get set, go. I'm sorry I didn't give you more time. That's all the time we have. I hope it helped. Did anybody come up with one that you're really proud of? Did anybody do the assignment? Okay, listen up.
It's all the world's a stage, and I want to be his casting director.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so if you didn't hear all of that, so Steve, is it Maisel?
Yes.
Steve Maisel has been a casting director for a long time for TV and film, and he's trying, because that's such a volatile career, he's trying to get a steady job as a recruiter. And so it's very similar, right? You're looking for the right fit, and so they came up with all the world's a stage, and I want to be its casting director. Is that correct? I love it. Don't you want to learn more?
I would take out one of you though and just say I'm its casting director.
All the world's a stage, and I'm its casting director. That's a little full of yourself. Okay, confidence. Not arrogance, confidence. Okay, and Steve, pick a Friday.
I'm gonna. We can do it next week, actually, if you like. If you don't have plans.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, he's our speaker next week. Oh, great. Thank you, because I know you're all tired of me. All right, excellent. And so he's going to be talking about how looking for a job is like casting a show. I was hoping that Gary would speak next week. Gary said the only 2 times he's got is the 28th. We already have a speaker. And the 25th, which is the Friday after Thanksgiving, we don't meet. So I have to work with him on when else. So we'll get him back. Okay, I need you to send me a blurb. Oh, I'm so excited. This is great. John.
Second one, I work on a kind of arcane area of financial software called ICM. and it's a subset of SBI. So those wonderful acronyms. And my line that I've been working on for quite a while is improving and automating variable pay and incentives for sales and performance. How do we get that across?
Okay,
You have a bowl of kimchi soup with the alphabet soup and have the ICM and
I didn't have, this isn't I can't do a graphic right. Well, I can do it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but I mean,
Link
this
this,
is
you could take like the alphabet soup on this, and then you could say, make, and have it at the top part, and then say, making sense of alphabet soup acronyms.
So any business that has variable pay, and it's usually for sales, I do it all. I help them figure the plans out, set them up in software, move the data in, do all of that. I mean, it's a very tough thing to get across to anybody in any kind of an elevator speech.
I got a good one for you.
I do it all.
So that should be part of it, though.
But the problem is you're targeting a specific market. You're not necessarily wanting to be the funniest to catch it. You want to catch a certain person. 20 years. So it's a little bit more.
Anybody who understands the variable pay piece
Yeah.
might get the performance
Yeah.
piece and improving and automating.
Did anybody who's done payroll knows that when you put payroll and variable together, you're asking for migraines?
Because I don't want to bore anybody with explaining all that, but anybody who's interested might lead to a job lead for me.
Dennis said he
So
had-
can I be,
I simplify the puzzle of variable pay.
Pretty darn good, Ken.
I don't know, what, you had one?
so what I was thinking when he was speaking, and purpose of which the headline is to catch someone's attention, right? I am money.
I am money. That sounds so Republican candidate-like. that I immediately had, it was turning. I am money. Instead of I something the puzzle, I solve the puzzle. Because you solve the puzzle. Okay, but you understand how cool it is if you can, and I love the fact that you're all so smart and that you can see when you get a big group of people together, you come up with, you didn't like that first one because there was no flair. I don't know, you can't needlepoint it, something.
I have one for the team. That was just a response to this.
Okay, good. What's the one for the
And this
team?
is a team of sales and marketing folks, and we were kind of lamenting a little bit how it's kind of a group that doesn't get a lot of, resources that we see here and other places. But and in keeping in theme with the Halloween season, we thought a good headline would be, I see live leads everywhere.
I see live leads everywhere. What do you think? You like it?
I see live people.
Yeah.
I see mine.
Yeah.
Live leads. It's like electrical. Like you're
Yeah, right.
I see like.
You got enough hair for that?
What's that?
Make your hair old?
I make your leads come alive.
That's a good one. I like that one.
There are no dead leads.
That's two negative things in one 5 word. No and dead.
Well, I mean,
Good for a
say what you
mortuary
do.
job.
All my leads are dead. For a mortuary. All my leads are dead. Okay, Roxanne,
Let me lead you to success.
That's a good one.
let me lead you to success. And if you're a lead generator, yeah. I like that. Zach,
And this is one for a completely different industry, and I promise I did not plagiarize this from the side of a cop car. Working with our communities to build a safer world.
working with our communities to build a safer world. And that would be for what kind of job?
Anything in public safety, public service, that kind of thing.
Okay, working within our community to build a safer world. It's a little bit
Generic.
It's a little generic,
It needs work.
but it's,
It's a rough draft.
well, but that's where you start.
It's lukewarm oatmeal.
Okay, lukewarm oatmeal, well, your assignment will be, everybody's assignment will be to try to think of one for security, community safety,
Yes,
public safety. Okay, see if anybody comes up with one. Okay, Roxanne?
For anyone doing a bilingual job, you can say in English what you do, and then at the end add, y lo puedo hacer en español. You know, just a statement saying, I can do it in Spanish.
I'm looking for a French job.
I can do it in Spanish, backward in heels.
That would get.
Don't make fun of the foot injury.
Yes, sir.
Instead on that bilingual, instead of writing, yeah, I can do it in Spanish, actually write it out in Spanish or whatever the language is, so that.
Yo no puedo.
Yeah.
Lo
Yo no
puedo hacer-
puedo. You see that all over Mexico. Yo no puedo.
How do you say backward heels in Spanish?
Yes, sir.
Courtney at the last job fair, used to work with my mother, by the way, but she challenged me on the elevator pitch and the tagline and that kind of stuff. She said, why? Why do you do it? And she recommended a site, Westfall Online, by Chris Westfall. And he's got a short 3-minute video. So it's Westfall, WESTPHALL, online.com. And it gets you start thinking about the whys. I think we've even had a presentation here or somewhere I went which is about the whys. Why do you do this? So if you're struggling with this kind of stuff, it's kind of good to go back to basics and figure out why you do what you do and what you like.
Yeah, what is the purpose?
Yeah.
What is the purpose of what you do?
Westfall
Okay.
Online.
Westfall Online, thank you very much, I'm gonna look that up, that's good. Okay, we have a lot of I'm sorry,
I
yes?
just have one suggestion. I'm in marketing, so I have a book called Words That Sell.
Yes.
It's a great little $10 book, and you can really get shorter words, more impactful words, just by kind of taking whatever you have and going through there and saying, hey, let's spin it differently. So anyway, I kind of recommend that to folks out there in that mode.
That's excellent, that's excellent. And if any of you come up with a LinkedIn thing that you've seen that you really like, that's in keeping with what we've been talking about, tell me who it is. And we'll get a whole inventory of those things. Interesting headshots and there are more interesting headshots than there are these little catchy nuggets. I love the catchy nugget thing.